This is Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and you're listening to the Paranomaly Zone.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen. It does happen. A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey there, ponderers of the paranormal. You are in the Paranomaly Zone, your weekly dose of all things paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Koffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the man able to leap giant shadow people in a single bound, Michael Carbno. Mike, and he's rubbing his eyes. He's so worn out and tired from leaping said giant shadow people.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you found the energy to make it here tonight, Mike.
Yeah, really.
You're widening your eyes now. You're like shaking.
The only shadow people I think that I could have possibly leapt over the many years ago when there was the one that was behind my couch.
That's right. That's
that
right.
Behind the couch. At that time, at that age, in that limberness that I had way back then, I could have leapt over that.
Very
That
nice.
would have been like leaping over the couch.
I
Then I
would
would have crashed through the window.
I would have paid to have seen that, by the way. So
Yeah.
imagine people walking by and all of a sudden they see this pasty white young man bursting through his window.
Oh, that, yeah.
I'm not
Pasty
sure.
white. That reminds me of a great story I got to tell this evening.
Oh, well, okay.
That happened a few nights ago. But actually, I could have jumped over the last black dark shadow that I did see. I think I told you about that.
I think so.
Yeah, I could wait to get into this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The accounts to mention that one.
Well, I jotted down pasty white so we wouldn't forget what.
Pasty white and fright.
Oh God, and fright. Oh,
Yes.
righty then. Ooh, that reminds me. Hey, you know what? We are really good at off the cuff, winging it type conversations, and this is no exception. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It is the Sunday before Labor Day. Thanks Mike, for finding the time to make this work. We needed to get an episode out. We enjoy doing this for all of you. We hope you guys enjoy this one. It's going to be definitely a. This is we promote the Retro and Randoms Patreon podcast as Utterly Unprepared. Well, I think we'll promote this one as Utterly Unprepared because we are
Utterly unprepared, and the day before Labor Day.
That is
if we
right.
were in Canada, it would be Labor Day because it would be spelled O-U-R at the end.
Well, there you go. Thank you for the lesson there. I appreciate that. Well, I learned something new. So
Anyway,
thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. So, warning to listeners: Mike is very tired.
yeah, but I can deal with it. But that might bring out some really weird shit.
That's very true. Ooh, you dropped a curse word already, so that's a good sign. That is a good sign. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the curse words. Hey,
Yes.
And another thing, again, utterly unprepared, off the cuff, random stuff here. We forgot to give the shout out to awesome listener Official Bruner at Official Bruner.
Yes.
I thought that was so cool that he tweeted out to us. This was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he
I
said,
thought about this since our last episode that we forgot this.
Yeah.
Yes.
but he said, finally catching up on the episodes, guys. But I got married this weekend.
Oh, he got engaged.
And it was
Was it engaged?
I think it was married. I thought it was married, but you could be right.
Well, either one is just as cool.
Yeah, exactly. I was moved, Mike. I was moved that someone would actually reach out and let us know that they're behind on the podcast because, they're just doing some little thing like getting married or getting engaged, So, again, shout out to Official Bruner.
Yes.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you for your service as well. He has served in the armed forces. He has said to us on occasion that the show has helped him get through the nights. So, where he is stationed, and we appreciate that. So,
And I never did actually answer his question of expounding on the bus incident.
oh, that is right. That is right. Well, maybe you should do that. Maybe you should send him a message. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Do what? Maybe I should do what?
I said maybe you should send him a message. Maybe you should.
Yes, I could do that.
Yeah. So, well, thank you again, Official Bruner. This one is going to be a totally, utterly unprepared episode. We're talking ghost stories, personal and from, I guess other family members and friends and so on and so forth. Because, hey, ghosts are our favorite subject. That's what got us started in this crazy podcast.
It did.
Basically.
Very much so.
And, what better way to have an hour go by faster than we can tell when we're just talking about one of our favorite topics.
Yeah.
And that is
all that.
ghosts. Ghostly goodness. Anything bizarre happening? And the reason I asked that, Mike, because I know something bizarre and weird and cool happened in your residence not that
Had
long
a couple
ago.
of things.
And what better way to start off this episode? You want to just dive right into that? Mike casually sent me a text message the other day, or I should rephrase that. I should say during a text message exchange, Mike just casually mentioned, "Oh, by the way, this happened." I'm like, "Oh, good Lord."
Something that was said reminded me, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you about." Yeah,
Well,
but the other one, besides
know.
that one,
Yes.
it was weird. I was sitting watching TV, and then across the floor, there was it wasn't really large, but it was maybe a foot long and somewhere around a little more than half the width of that, moved across the floor. It was like flat on the floor, like a shadow. It was black. And I saw it move a good 6 feet until it just disappeared. Now, I tried to think of, was that some shadowy thing through the window that moved across or whatever, like a car driving by, but totally could not have been that. Nothing was moving in the house.
And where were you again when you saw that?
In my living room watching TV.
Oh, that's
and
right.
It was like, I don't know, like 3 feet in front of the TV on the floor. So that was really weird. I can't say if it was anything paranormal for sure, but it was weird. I could not explain it. It was like a shadow person in miniature.
a mini shadow person.
Yes, a mini shadow. But it was interesting though. It made me think, because I could not figure it out.
And that's not something that could have possibly been your eyes playing tricks on you. I'm throwing it out there. I just
there is always that possibility. I mean, like I said, I can't 100% say it was something paranormal, but it was very strange.
And then another experience that you had mentioned to me, I believe you said, well, I guess I don't remember where you said you were because I asked you if you were out on your deck when you saw this again, because that's happened to you before when you were outside grilling and you were looking inside your house and you saw something moving into the kitchen area, but something very similar happened again, just last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was about a week or so ago. I was sitting in the same place that I was sitting when I saw this black thing on the floor, this shadow type thing.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know, there's maybe a week apart between these two incidents. But I had seen out of the corner of my eye towards the kitchen door, which is in the small dining room area, like something moving fairly quickly from the dining room into the kitchen. And it was about 4 feet tall and kind of blurred, but it was light. It wasn't anything dark. It was it had like hints of blue and yellow in it, and the yellow seemed to me like it would have been in the area where the hair was, and the blue could have been something that whatever it was wearing, but it wasn't shaped or formed like, oh, there's a blue shirt on it or whatever. It was just, the hints of these colors. And it was like a move fast, kind of like a streak. And that's what it looked like. The colors and the form itself would kind of look like a streak moving, but slow enough to where I could actually watch it move in.
So no defined shape.
No really defined shape, but it was. I remember even being able to see it long enough and to think quick enough to where I could actually kind of position it, the height of it on the wall, and compare it to things that were on the wall. Going into the kitchen, there's that little triangle hallway that goes into the kitchen.
Yeah,
I could actually kind of gauge the height of it by what's hanging on the wall in there, and that's kind of where I figured it was about 4 feet tall.
Okay, so, and one thing that you had mentioned when you text that to me, and I kind of jokingly wrote back, is like, okay, shut up, that's kind of eerie, that's kind of creepy, because we have to talk about this now, and perfect
right.
segue, because you said, I this is you basically, I'm paraphrasing, you said something along the lines of, I couldn't help but wonder if it was maybe Sally.
Yeah, with the blonde hair.
Checking on us, since she's aware that we are making our trek to.
Yes, because I do feel that. I do feel that
the
house is stirring and waiting for our arrival.
Now we may have, we may have mentioned this before, but I'm not sure if we've done. No, the last episode was the haunting of the Sally house, and since then, our listeners are now going to learn that yes, you and I, Michael Carbno, Mr. Shadow Person Leaper, you, and me. I don't know what the hell you want to call me, but...
as long as I'm not a shadow leper.
Well, that's very true. That's very, very true. Very, very true.
I saw a picture of a man with leprosy the other day. It was a very old picture. He really had no face.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's just great.
So anyway, carry on.
Now I have that image in my head. Thank you very, very much. Yes, boys and girls, amateur ghost hunters, Michael Carbno, and me, myself, the lovely short man that I am, Patrick Koffenberg, we're making the trek to the Sally house November 4th.
Yes.
It's going to be
not
here.
for just a little half-hour walk through either.
Hell no. We're doing the overnight stay. It is booked.
Yes.
There is no turning back. Mike, I did also, down in the fine print, it says no refunds, because they do allow refunds if you call with more than 2 weeks. But you read a little further, no refunds at all for a single night stay. So, yeah, we paid for it. It's paid for it. It's done. So we're going.
That's right.
And I have to admit, that day after, I was super excited when I booked it that evening. But then the next day, I don't know what it was. I don't know if I was feeling if I was feeling anxious for whatever reason, but I felt a little off and odd and leery a bit.
Yeah. Well, we both had some apprehension about...
Apprehension is a great way of putting it. Trepidation, and maybe I was thinking about it too much, but I think we texted each other that day. I was like, Mike, I go back and forth between excitement and trepidation, or apprehension. and
only once did he urinate himself.
Just once. I was proud of myself. Only one time, and I was pinching number 2 the entire day, but that's a whole nother story.
No turtle head there.
No
he
turtle,
was pinching pretty hard.
Sorry for that image, everybody. But yeah, we're heading there. Mike, did you want to talk about that a little bit? We got all of our equipment lined up. Maybe we have another new piece. Well, we do have one new piece coming its way, and then we're thinking about another. Oh, it's going to be good.
My wonderful brother has in his great support and wanting us to just keep moving forward. He has he has bought it for us.
Oh God! No.
An actual monocular night vision camera / video recording. Awesome piece of equipment.
I can't thank Steve enough, man. That was
it's amazing.
That was so. Here's a word for it. That was very magnanimous on his part.
Yeah, at the very least.
At the very, very least. So we're gonna put it to good use. Man.
Oh, yes.
So,
very-
Mike, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this trip?
Oh, well, 10.999.
Yeah, exactly. this definitely requires this goes to 11. Spinal tap.
Yes,
reference.
absolutely. But I have, like I'm sitting thinking about it, and I'm like, I picture in my mind different parts of this place, and like we cannot go down to the basement, but we can stand at the top of the stairs. It's like, well, in the Ghost Adventures episode, it was like, well, they were actually down there. Where did I see this? Well, it might have been pictures of the house itself. There was a rope that was that's all that was covering the door from going downstairs. So looking down that dark hole of a basement, see, that's one of the reasons I would like to pick up a parabolic dish. They're like, I don't know, between $40 and $50. If I can, with one of my, unemployment, or not unemployment, my disability checks that I'll be getting.
Sure.
Haven't got them yet, but they're coming. Which is another story all itself. But anyway, I can imagine us standing at the top of those stairs, holding this parabolic dish down towards the basement and hearing like whispers and stuff, and
I know.
Like satanic chants.
Oh, shut up! Don't even go there. Don't even go there. I thought for a minute, I thought you were going to like say it, pull a joke and say, well, yeah, holding it down by our asses and hearing all these these voices being picked up. Say, what's going on down there, boys and girls?
I'm a burrito. I'm working my way out.
Haunted Colons, episode 20. Haunted Colons. No, it's when you mentioned that the other day, I was like, oh god, that sounds so creepy, but so cool. I'm telling you right now, Mike, I know we're supposed to bring our own sleeping bags, but we will. I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep a wink.
Yeah,
that night.
Got a long drive the next day, though.
We do. That's the thing, man. It's like, oh boy. Plans are in place for me to go and crash at your place the night before.
Right.
Tentative plans, obviously, but they could change. But that's what we're thinking about right now. And then taking off super early in the morning, get there and check in time, and let the adventure begin.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. So
yeah, and we got to record along the way too, little snippets here and there on the road, and
absolutely
when we get there, and then as we're standing at the door before we go in, we must look at each other on film and go, "What the hell are we doing?"
I thought you were going to say our goodbyes. It's like, yeah.
No, we're excited about it, and it's going to be awesome.
Well, this isn't a cheap plug. Some may see it as such because, I do this every episode, but you have to. It's a necessary evil. But in all honesty, this is all going to be documented on our Patreon page. You guys, if you want to have access to all sorts of, Paranormally Zone exclusive episodes and an entirely separate podcast itself, Retro and Randoms, we're having a blast with that one. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month for our Patreon page. But think about following us on our trek to the Sally House, live streaming from the Sally House with our patrons. I would love to do that just so it makes us feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we're not alone.
Yes, we're talking with our Patreon family members. But yeah, that is absolutely going to happen. Tons of cool video content, all of our own personal paranormal evidence that we've captured throughout the years. Again, like I said, exclusive episodes you can't find anywhere else. All of our old interviews that you can't find anywhere anymore. They've been removed from all social media outlets. I'm talking about YouTube. I'm talking about all the podcast providers. Can't hear any of the Alternate Route podcast episodes except at the Paranormally Zone Patreon page. And like I said, including our interviews with people such as Amy Allen, Jason Hawes, Ron Moorhead, Andrea Perrin. The list goes on and on and on and on.
Yes, I'm sitting here. My TV is on Most Haunted, and I see our old friend Dave Schrader even on there.
Dave Schrader amongst the many interviews. Oh my gosh, there's so many that
Amy Allen.
So many that we've had the pleasure of chatting with. Chip Coffey, Amy Bruni, Adam Berry, Grant Wilson, Steve Gonzalez. Oh man, that's
a lot of the best.
A lot of the best. Again, you can only listen to those nowadays on the Patreon page. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month if you want to help support the podcast and follow us on our journey to the Sally house. We'd love to see you there. That's no joke.
Yeah, the more patrons we have, the more chances of these little road trips we could
100%, man.
we could expense
Yeah, sure.
expenses something like that.
Well, and I was also thinking too, that we're working on all of the Paranormally Zone merchandise, and as of right now, we're starting very.
It's a long process.
It's a long process. It's right now. Yeah, you sign up. You get a cool sticker. That's what you get.
Yeah.
You get a cool sticker.
So far, yeah, that's it.
But we do have a pretty cool bundle package for everything. If you want to sign up and receive a Paranormally Zone hoodie, a Paranormally Zone t-shirt, all sorts of stuff, we have an option there if you want to give that a shot. Yeah. Anyways, lots of awesome stuff. We'd love to see you guys there. Okay, Necessary Evil out of the way. Ghost stories, Mike. Ghost stories. So going back to that last, I guess, vision that you had. Well, not a vision. That last experience you went through.
Mm-hmm.
What feeling did you get from it at all? Because I know you're so casual about it and stuff. Did you just go, or did you think it may have been something in particular?
Well, to me, it was something that I had never seen or experienced or felt in this house before. Because like always before, it's been, of course, the cat,
right,
that has been seen in here numerous times, and work that you and I had been doing. We've had what seems like an older woman, I believe, like with some spirit box sessions that we've had and things like that.
Oh, that's
yes. Remember that actually mentioned Mary
right.
in that spirit box session.
And that made Mary feel a little uneasy.
No, it actually made her feel better because she could tell that what was coming across the spirit box was comforting. It wasn't anything evil. It wasn't anything bad.
Oh, I'm thinking about something else. I was thinking about the one. I'm sorry. I was thinking about our experience up on top of Standing Rock.
Standing Rock. Yeah, that freaked her out, and she was gone.
Yeah,
yeah. She walked off the mound quicker than we did.
Was this the session where
we wanted to stay, but
was this the session where the first time I went to your place when we went to Standing Rock, where in your house we thought we were talking to someone who said that they enjoyed watching you cook outside?
Yes.
Yeah, because Mike likes grilling outside on the deck, and it's really, really
my kitchen is one of my favorite parts of the house.
Yeah. So again, but you didn't get any bad vibe, obviously, but it's I don't buy into the notion that it was Sally checking us out.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I think that you just said that to creep me out.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to happen a lot between now and midnight on November.
Well,
4th.
you know what? Well, I have to mention this. Our last Paranormally Zone Patreon episode, at the very beginning, after I do the introduction, and you listened to that the other day, because I
did.
There's a really odd,
very interesting,
very odd audio anomaly that we picked up. Well, that was picked up. Do you have any inkling or any feeling as to what that was? It's bizarre.
It almost sounded like something part mechanical and part of moaning, like a moan or
a moan. Okay,
or something like that.
Well, again, the first time I heard it, I thought it sounded like a damn cat. but
I didn't really get cat when I heard it, but like a non-intelligible sound, human sound, like a moan.
Because we have to make this clear. Yes, Mike has a cat, but the cat is always in your damn bathroom, and it never does anything.
It's either in the bathroom or the laundry room. Yeah,
bathroom and the laundry room.
Doesn't roam.
It doesn't meow. Even if it did, it would not be
19 years old.
This what we picked up on during the episode was not your cat. I want to make that explicitly clear.
Definitely, yes.
It sounded. Yeah, it had a weird mechanical, electronic sound to it or something, but it wasn't. We didn't hear it when we were recording. It's not a mishap on Audacity. It's there. You can tell that it's something being picked up by the microphone. So it's
almost like it totally waited for you to finish what you're saying, and then it let go.
Yeah. Yeah. Patreon subscribers, if you haven't checked it out, it's right after the intro, right after I say Patreon pals. Then there's a pause, and then you hear a couple of weird odd noises. So
And it's not like it's really loud, but it's definitely clear enough that it's
Yeah.
it's there.
Oh, Mike, how do you want to do this? Off the cuff. Off the cuff. I'm off the cuff medicine today. Off the cuff. No exception tonight. I just jotted down in my professional note takings. I jotted down several little experiences that you and I have had, that I've had, stuff that you've experienced. Again, longtime listeners have probably heard these before, so we apologize. Don't tune out right now. Don't tune out. We want you guys to stick around. Let's just kind of go up and down the list here and just kind of reminisce. Does that sound okay to you?
Absolutely.
This is ghost stories. We're talking about all sorts of weird things that have happened. The first one I wrote down was Mike's latest. Yep, we talked about that already. But
And then there was one little incident, like barely a week ago. It was last week. It was quite frightening because remember you wrote down what I was mentioning, something pasty.
talk
pasty.
about that. Please talk about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Let us know, Mike. What did you mean?
Well,
What
this
did you
was
mean that my pasty white phrase reminded you of something? Please.
yeah. It was
Let us know.
very early in the morning. The house is quite dark, in the middle of the night when you get up to go to the bathroom, but there is a salt lamp that is always on, and it just gives that nice, warm, soft glow where you can't really see much by it or anything, but does give a nice glow. Well, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and when I was walking back, I couldn't see anything, like if something was walking in the living room or whatever. And I was just in my underwear, as I sleep in my underwear.
All right. I want all of our listeners to close their eyes,
Yes.
and meditate, visualize Mike.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say lumbering. I'm not saying that in reference to your
That's kind of lumbering.
your
It was,
size,
it was
but your,
late.
your physical ailments right now, you're probably
Yes.
lumbering a bit.
Yeah, I lumber
Um,
just anytime I move. Yeah.
Are you boxers or briefs, or like the halfway in between ones? We
Kind
got
of halfway in between. Yeah.
okay.
Actually.
So visualize a
So
damn
this is where
near-
the pasty white comes in as well.
damn near naked Mike Carbno.
Pasty white.
Pasty
Michael
white
Carbonell.
Carbno. I'm assuming you didn't have your glasses on. You're walking blind, essentially. Okay, please finish
So-
the tale.
As I get towards the bedroom door, and it's just dark in the bedroom, I can't see anything. And then all of a sudden I hear, "Ah!"
What?
Just like that. Scared the shit out of me.
Okay, please tell me you're kidding.
No, I am not. It was loud.
Was it Mary?
It was Mary.
Oh, my God.
She was just inside the door where it was dark and I couldn't see her.
Oh, and she saw you?
She sees me, pasty white, ghosty, walking through the living room and screams, but she can't scream like a girl. She screams like that. So when she screamed, of course, scared the hell out of me, and I screamed. I screamed higher notes than her.
Oh, man.
Scared the hell out of her.
Oh, good Lord.
Because our bed, it's just really just this big king size comfy thing where you can't feel the person getting out of bed even if you're awake practically.
Really?
But she was sleeping, and when I got out of bed and didn't know that I was not still in bed.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
dark enough, you can't see.
Oh, I wish you guys had like home security
Oh.
camera footage of that stuff. That
Oh
would've
my
been
god,
hilarious.
it was terrifying, and then it was extremely funny.
Did you guys laugh your asses off after
Oh
that?
god, she could not stop laughing after getting back to bed. Oh, but
Did-
yeah,
did
so
you,
she just sees this 6 foot tall, pasty white, scantily clad,
Hulk standing there.
yeah. This
okay,
entity.
Mike, did you check your shorts after that? Was everything fine? Were you in the clear? I mean, it was all
Everything
good.
was good. Yeah,
Okay. I loved your impersonation of Mary, by the way.
yeah. But that's what she sounds like when she screams, just like that.
Wow. That's awesome, though, because literally I feel, Bridget is a very light sleeper, and I'm not exactly a large individual. I wake her up every damn time I get up or get back into the bed and stuff, and it's just like, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying my damnedest not, to be
Yeah.
deft about it, but nope, never fails, never fails.
Yeah, Mary's a good heavy sleeper. Once she gets to sleep, I'll I'll come back to bed after going to the bathroom, and she'll be laying there sleeping on her back, whatever, and I'll kind of just lay there and reach my hand over, just kind of stroke her hair for a little bit. You know, it's always
Aw.
kind of a nice, comforting thing. And she never wakes up. She just kind of, snuggles deeper into the blankets because it feels good.
Yeah. Oh.
And never doesn't wake up, but yeah,
Damn.
very pleasant.
Oh, you're such a kind-hearted man.
Yeah.
Oh. Before I get into my ghostly tales, well, nothing that our longtime listeners have not heard before, I wanted to talk about something very briefly here. We're going a little different direction. About something I texted you the other day at work. I don't
Okay.
know how the hell I thought of this old movie. But there's an old after reading up on it, I learned that it was filmed in 1979 and finally released straight to video VHS in 1983, 4 years after completion of filming on a $70,000 budget. And I thought it was more like a $70 budget. It looked that terrible. But I had memories of a movie called Night of the Demon. Now, listeners out there, if you aren't familiar with that, and if you
Well,
are,
there's a
please
lot
let
of
me know.
movies that's not the only Night of the Demon movie. There's
Very, very true.
Night of the Demons, which is what I thought you were originally talking about, the one with
No,
Linnea
sir.
Quigley, where she becomes possessed and she takes a lipstick tube and pushes it into her nipple and it's gone.
Wow,
Sucked it right in.
that's a nasty
And
nipple.
she was laughing when she did it. But
Goodness.
anyway,
Woof,
that's what I thought. Anyway, but yeah, Night of the Demon.
No.
And I looked that up.
This is much more high quality entertainment.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
Well, gosh, long story short, I want to know who the hell exposed me to this crap when I was a little kid. I want answers. I want people to be accountable. This movie is some of the scenes in it. Okay,
Yes.
there's a reason that I have a
Child
particular-
protection should be involved.
and I know who I have a really good feeling who was behind allowing me to watch this movie, and he shall go unnamed. That'll be for another. Maybe I'll name him on a Patreon episode. One particular scene that quite literally has stuck in my feeble, fragile brain all of these 46 years. Well, I guess it would be not quite 46 years because I don't remember how old I was when I saw this. I want to say I was anywhere from 9 to maybe 12 at the oldest, 8 at the
Young.
oldest, but I was 9. Yeah. Oh my God. Anyways, there's a particular scene. This is a Bigfoot movie, by the way, everybody. This is
Yes.
about a killer, crazy, whacked out Bigfoot that's haunting these students and their teacher out in the woods who are
It's like a Bigfoot on that's eating too many of the wrong mushrooms out in the
or
woods.
something. I don't know what the hell's up this guy's butt, but man alive. Oh, that's another side note. As you said, if that was your first exposure to a Bigfoot movie, I'm surprised you aren't terrified by Bigfoot.
Exactly.
But I do want to say, I really wonder if that isn't the source behind my Bigfoot nightmares that I had as a young kid that have
Oh.
kind of
Of course.
lingered.
Explain some of these scenes to the people, and they'll understand what you're talking about.
Well, the one scene that I still remember, and I honest to God don't know why it popped in my brain the other night, and I went searching for the title of the movie. There's a poor schlub who is, he's a biker, and I can just imagine his title in the credits. You know, I'll mention this in a little bit here, but the scene is where there's a professor who's he's taken all of his students out into the woods to hunt down the legend of the supposed killer Bigfoot. And every night they're out camping, he regales them with the tale of this ferocious Bigfoot. And so they do like flashback scenes. And this scene in particular is a biker. He's out in the backwoods and he pulls over because he has to, he has to make a call to nature. He needs to drain the main vein, so
Has
to
to
speak.
urinate.
He has to urinate for all you boys and girls who don't know what drain the main vein means.
Our listeners are more intelligent
I
than that.
know that. But this is a scene that I always remembered. And you ask, why do you always remember this scene? Patrick, please tell us, young man. Well, middle-aged man. This man walks over to the edge of the woods, proceeds to unleash his manhood to relieve himself. Then you get a bird's
Bring
eye. Well,
urine everywhere.
I should say you don't. I said you get a bird's eye view, but you get a Bigfoot eyes view of full frontal nudity of said biker, only to have a large hairy hand leap out from the woods to grab said biker by his member and proceeds to tear it off. And the next scene is the sad schlub of a biker stumbling back to his bike with a little willowy, wispy nub dangling between his zipper and blood gushing. Horrible, fake-looking blood. He falls over onto his motorcycle. The camera pans down to like the muffler of the motorcycle, and it just slowly gets covered in blood.
Jeez.
I saw this as like a 9-year-old at the I don't know how old it was, but I was a wee little lad, and it's still on my damn mind. That's just one scene, boys and girls. You can find it on Vudu. Go watch it on Vudu. Buy it on Vudu. Maybe it's on Netflix. I'm not sure. Nightmare material for this little man. One of the worst movies ever made, but it's one of those movies as an adult. It's like, this is so bad. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
The acting is about as bad as, how do I want to put this? Well, they ain't A-listers, we'll put it that way. It isn't exactly Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro and all those superstars pulling this creative masterpiece out of their asses. It's pretty terrible. It involves a woman getting impregnated by a Bigfoot, so that's great. That's wonderful. The final scene, it's just so stupid and ridiculous. There's a when they're all finally trapped in this backwoods cabin and the Bigfoot is trying to get in and trying to kill the remaining students and the professor, and it busts through the window, and the camera is kind of at a low angle looking up, and that makes the Bigfoot creature look like this massive. It might be on a mini set at this time because it's actually taller than the door. I mean, it looks big. Mm-hmm. And then they show
and it was actually just camera work because the actor that played Bigfoot was Hervé Villechaize.
So I thought that was, I guess that would have been after that, that would have been after that, after his claim to fame. But
anyway,
it may have been before that, but I'm not sure. Anyways, it's just hilarious because busts into the main living room. Everyone runs into another room. The giant 7-foot tall Bigfoot, and just in a ridiculous costume. They lock themselves in another door, and when Bigfoot breaks through that door, leaps in, he's shorter than the humans. It's just ridiculous. And
that's because Mutombo, he was out that day when they were filming that scene.
It was just so bad. It's like, how dumb are you here? It's like, but anyways, I could go on.
And I didn't mean anything racist by that. Isn't it Mutombo? Isn't he like a...
Oh, Dikembe Mutombo was an NBA player. Yeah, absolutely.
I know, very, very, very tall man.
Oh, gosh, yeah. As are most NBA players. But
yes.
Anyways, I don't want to waste any more time. I just had to get that out there. But Nightmare Material and one of the worst movies ever made. But oddly...
But but there are other movies that are so low budget and horribly acted and horribly, edited and produced, and that are cult classics to this day.
Right.
I mean, Night of the Living Dead is that, and look at how, iconic that is. Don't Look in the Basement, Last Door on the Left.
Oh, I know.
Or Last House on the Left. I mean, those are movies that stick in your mind.
Uh-huh.
Even as badly done as they are, B movies. D movies, whatever. Why Night of the Demon isn't, stuck in everybody's mind.
I don't know, man. But I'm telling you, it was actually, the reason that it was never released, well, besides it being awful, but it was finally released 4 years after completion, is because it was deemed too violent. And
sure, they would have an X rating.
Oh man, it was just terrible. Like the opening scene, this guy gets his arm ripped off by Bigfoot. And as he falls down on the ground, and the camera pans to a close-up of his torn-off stub and blood's just gushing down onto the ground, and you watch the blood flow down the hill. It must be on a slope. This is probably the best scene in the movie because it slowly fills up a large foot imprint on the ground. And
a Bigfoot imprint.
A Bigfoot imprint gets slowly.
See, now that alone is
Yes.
like could be like a saving grace for the whole movie.
That's it. That's the best scene of the movie. And then right when it gets filled up with blood, the title, Night of the Demon. And then it goes downhill from there.
See, that's awesome. That is an awesome picture, in your mind.
That's clever. It's creative.
That's very good thinking there, yeah.
Anyways, if you want to be entertained in odd, weird, bizarre ways, I recommend Night of the Demon. Night of the Demon. I just said Ite. Ite of the Demon. Okay, we better get to some ghost stories here. Holy shit, we're up to 40 minutes. Again, some of these are very familiar to longtime listeners. Obviously, our It's Debbie EVP is still at the top of the mountain. For me personally, I think for you too, Mike, because it's just it's totally clear as day. It is inexplicable. There's no explanation for it at all, other than we captured something anomalous. We captured something from the other side because the answer made sense.
Oh, it was direct answer. It was perfect. Yeah, great piece of EVP evidence.
Mm-hmm. And you can listen to that on the Patreon page, by the way. But
for as little as $1.
A little as $1. Go ahead. Listen. One thing I wanted to share is I remember stories from my grandpa. And we all have those tales. Oh, my granddaddy told me the ghostly stories of yada, yada, yada.
I don't, but go ahead.
That's an actual person, by the way. Yada, yada, yada. So
yeah. It's my Jewish grandfather, yada.
I had to contact my mom again. This, thankfully, is one of the many stories that she shared with me on my I titled them Mom's Memoirs.
Which is an awesome idea. You are. I'm very proud of you for doing all of this.
Oh, thank you.
With your mother.
Yeah, we have. I've done that 4 times now, so we have a good, darn near 5 hours of audio stuff on, interviewing her about her life growing up and all. And at one point, we started talking about kind of ghostly stuff because she's had some interesting experiences. But it goes back to my granddaddy, her grandpa, and it happened when my grandpa was a younger man. Took place at my mom's aunt's house. Her name was Idri, and her husband's name was Ren. I like that name, Ren, R-E-N. And so that would have been...
That was Kevin Bacon's name in not Dirty Dancing, Footloose.
Footloose. There you go.
His name was Ren.
And the house here belonged to, I'm reading Mom's text messages here, belonged to Ren's family. And my mom believes that his mother was there also. The last name was Spencer. Ren Spencer was...
Every time you say Ren, I'm seeing Kevin Bacon. I'm sorry.
Well, Kevin Bacon has nothing to do with this story.
Right. So, thank God.
So I remember my grandpa telling me these when I was a little kid. And there's no reason I believed him 100%. The stories never change.
There's no reason to not believe.
And there's no reason that he would lie to me. He didn't lie to me. I mean, he was totally honest. He was my grandpa. And I loved him dearly. He basically took the place of my dad. That's how close we were. And he was telling me stories. Long story. I'll try and make this as brief as I can. This house that he stayed at, he was terrified of. They were visiting, I believe it was during the winter. They visited a couple times. One occurrence happened during the winter. The first bizarre thing that pops in my brain is that all of the family members in the house one night during the winter all said that they heard horses running around their house on the outside. They heard, obviously horses, the galloping, the neighing, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Next day, not one track of hooves in the snow. And it wasn't snowing that night. It didn't cover it up. I mean, say what you will about that. That's kind of bizarre.
Well, it is. And I have read true documented stories, documented as truth, of that very thing happening.
Yeah.
Hearing horses being ridden up to the front of the house, and they look out and there's nothing there, or they'll hear like a carriage being pulled by horses. And I think in one of those stories, they did see an actual extremely definite phantom carriage being pulled by phantom ghosts, so you could hear it.
Oh, wow.
So those things do happen.
Does that almost seem
I
like
would say that's more of a residual.
do you think that's a residual, or do you think we're having like a time slip thing going on?
Oh,
there?
time slip would be, yeah, that's a very good possibility.
I know there are other stories. This must have been my mom's aunt Idri. This is my grandpa telling me this. One evening she was doing dishes and she kept hearing what she swore was the sound of shears coming up behind her, like a shh,
Oh my God.
shh, shh. And she would turn around. Nothing was there, of course. Resume
Yeah,
doing the dishes. And guess what you
Turn
heard?
around,
again?
see Jason there.
Oh, I mean, this again. Why would they even make this crap up back then? And why would they? I don't get that. I know my grandpa was terrified of staying in a particular bedroom up there. Doors would open and shut on their own. The classic example of ghostly stuff of those damn doors shutting and opening.
And this is when he was younger.
This is when he was a younger man. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows how old that house could have been that he was in?
Right.
Not that always matters, of course, but could be a lot of history there.
A lot of history there. I mean, that stuff, my interest in ghosts goes back to when I was a kid. I can picture myself sitting on the front porch with my grandpa telling me this. I see it in my head right now. A summer day, and he's sitting there just talking to me kind of casually about these ghost stories, and I'm just like going, "What?
Yeah.
Really, Grandpa?" Oh,
See, and that's where your interest is sparked.
yeah.
When you're a little kid with
100%.
stuff like that. I mean, because that's the way it was. The stories that I was told by my father that came from generations back, and my grandmother. Interesting. So what else you got there, Patrick?
Oh, well, all sorts of stuff here. And I don't mean to sound like we're trying to fly through this because we gotta, again, we have tens and tens of listeners out there right now. So
Yes.
we thank you all so very, very much.
We have ones and ones of listeners.
Ones and ones. This is just something that I heard from, this was secondhand. I believe I heard it from my mom. This wasn't that long ago. The house that she grew up in that I knew my grandpa and grandma, that's the house that I spent all the time at as a little kid. I'd just ride my bike over there because I love going over to grandma and grandpa's house. It's right in town here, or right in town in Park Rapids. It is no longer there because that unfortunately was torn down to expand the parking lot of the police station / courthouse. So it's right on that block by the courthouse.
Over on, yes, okay, I got it.
Yep, and it's no longer there. But before it was torn down, it was sold, and the people who did move into it, this was after my grandparents had been long gone. My grandma and grandpa never spoke about any paranormal activity in that house, but after the new owners took over, they said, this is according to my mom, because they told my mom this, that they experienced a lot of weird, bizarre stuff in that house. Cupboard doors being opened on their own. The classic, again, making sure all your cupboard doors are shut, and then the next morning they're all open, inexplicably.
That's happened here.
So, I mean, what is going on with that? What is it with cupboard doors?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It could be somebody that used to live there looking for something, or it could be just an energy thing.
See, that's
so
the thing
is this house the one that your grandfather didn't like that one room in?
No,
Or
that's a different house altogether. That
goes way back.
That was the Spencer's house, that Ren Spencer house, and he and his
that's right.
his wife Idri, who was my mom's aunt, who was my grandpa's sister. So
Was that in Park Rapids as well?
yes,
or-
that was west of Park Rapids. The house is still there.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Is it like abandoned that we can get into?
no. It looks like people live there. I drive by it quite a bit. It's west of town. It's kind of, I don't know if you know right now. Our listeners have no idea what we're talking about, but it's that fairly new cutoff road that goes from 34 all the way to the potato plant instead of going straight to town.
Yes.
On 34, you can actually take that potato plant road. It's on.
I've been on it once.
It's on that road. It used to be a dirt road. Now it's totally redone and tarred and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyhow, weird stuff going on there. Again, the cupboard doors, and my grandparents, the fact that they never had any experiences that I know of, I've never heard anything. Why would these new owners all of a sudden experience this weird stuff? My grandparents were very happy. Nothing weird went on. I think they were the original owners of that house. I believe that was built, by them, for them. Like no one else lived there prior to them. So the fact that there's
And your grandparents didn't have any experiences there.
as far as I know, yeah,
Well, either your grandparents did not want to talk about it, which I don't really believe because they had no problem talking about the other places that were haunted.
Yeah.
This could be something that has something to do solely with the family that moved in.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they brought
You
their
know.
own. Maybe something was attached to them. Maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of BYOG.
Yeah. You never.
Bring your own ghost.
Very good. Very good. It took me a split second to get that. I was like, what? I don't see it. It makes me a little sad to think of it this way, but I remember my mom saying like maybe Dad didn't want anyone living there, and he was like maybe
Hey,
let him
that's
know.
very, very possible too.
Going back even further, I know I've told this on during the Ultimate Rail podcast days. Soon after my dad had passed away, and my mom talked about this on her motherly audio memoirs. Shortly after my dad passed away, she had an experience where she swears, trying to fall asleep at night, that she felt and saw the bed sink on the side that my dad laid on, and she saw it sink and felt the weight as if something was laying next to her on the bed.
That's also a fairly common thing that happens.
Yeah. And my mom's not lying. She is.
And your mom is fairly sensitive because after Mick passed away, she had some experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And
she's
some very
still,
specific ones that really pointed to
yes.
him.
And she still thinks that she's like, every now and then want to go over there and visit and stuff. She goes, Patrick, I just hear the weirdest things in this house now. And she's like, maybe I'm trying to hear things, or maybe I think things are weird, but I swear that he's still here every now and then, and why not?
Maybe would she be up for you going over there and doing a little bit of work?
I think so. Absolutely, she would. Absolutely, she would. I played her some of our EVPs that we've caught before, Mike, and she's just like, whoa, So she's totally open-minded to that. She had, she has the experience still where, she used to, well, she still does her puzzles, but Mick would always kind of sneak up behind her when she's doing the puzzles, and he'd kind of linger over her shoulder and she'd always know that he was there. She's like, hey, he's so quiet coming out of the bedroom, and he'd just scare me because I'd turn around and he'd be there. He's kind of playing a trick on her a little bit. And she's like, I still get that every now and I feel like he's standing looking over my shoulder.
Yeah, could be. Hey, Patrick, I have a question.
Uh-oh. Yes.
Can we take a short break?
Hell no.
Because Mary just got home, and she texted me quietly because she knows that I'm probably recording, and if she comes in and we're recording, Macy is going to be going nuts because she'll be so happy to see her.
Igor, should we take a pause?
No.
Computer.
Too bad.
Computer Mike, what do you say?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. How about you, Chris Walken? Okay. Hold on then, Mike. Hold on, boys and girls. This will be a seamless time traveling excursion. We haven't had one for a while. We shall be right back. And we are back after yet another successful time traveling excursion. It had been a while since we traveled through time, Mike. So it's good to do that every now and then to kind of refresh our talents, to get it going. Make sure that we haven't lost our touch, so to speak. And it's all good. Are you okay? I'm trying to kill time because you're like struggling with.
Yeah,
the
I was thinking my mic wasn't working, and I was trying to figure out why. And then I saw the mute button blinking, which means I accidentally muted myself.
Yes, the mut-e button is a
Don't ever mute yourself.
No, do not ever do such a thing. Moving right along, another interesting family experience, and don't worry, boys and girls, we will get to Mike's tales of ghostly experiences before the episode is over. No fears there. But this is one that, again, I heard it secondhand, and I don't know. We take it with a grain of salt. This was shortly after my dad had passed away. We were all still living in the Main Street house. Obviously, for several years, we still lived there. But my oldest brother, Mark, was visiting. This might have been, and I don't remember the exact date. It might have been around the time of the funeral because Mark's fiance at the time was up visiting, and Mark and her name was Kelly, they were sleeping on a blow-up mattress on the living room floor when they were staying there. Long story short, this is what Mark's then fiance said, and I have very vague memories of her. So I don't know if she was prone to flights of fancy or just straight up lying. But she claimed that when they were sleeping while she was awake that night, either right before or right after the funeral, she claimed that she saw a full-bodied apparition of my dad walking from his bedroom to the kitchen area. And yeah, I don't know. It's I remember hearing that though as a kid and wanting to believe that. That's for sure.
Oh, sure. Well, it's very possible, and why not? I mean, do you remember him as taking that path often when you were a child?
Well, thank you for asking that, because during the last months of his life, my dad, and I remember as a kid wondering why he was doing this, because I didn't get what was going on, but he was trying to have a routine. Like, he wanted to try and stay in shape as much as he could, and this was when he was sick. It was during the winter, when he was really starting to kind of fail. But he would make his laps around the house. He would do like speed walking around the house. He would walk. He'd go from and that was definitely one path. That's a vision that I have in my head. I was sitting on the couch in the living room, and my dad was walking back and forth. And I'm like, why? I was like, why are you walking? What's going on? Why are you doing this in the house? So, I mean, maybe it was
maybe a residual of him doing that.
Right. Again, I don't know. I wish I could talk to this woman.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know her. I knew her as like 8-year-old kid. I just thought she was, oh, she's cute. I like her. That's all I knew her as. I have no idea what she was like as a person. But it's interesting.
And it's not like he showed himself to her. It's she happened to see him. Yeah. So
I would love for that to be true. Of course I would.
It very well could be. You could take everything with a grain of salt. It's just how, take it how you feel about it, what it means to you. And,
I don't think I've ever shared that experience before.
No, you never have. But, that's a very common thing too. If somebody that is failing, and they try their hardest to turn things around. And it's like even somebody that's, getting, where they're maybe a couple of months left and they're failing, and even trying to get themselves on like an exercise bike or something.
Yep.
They just want that last, chance or last effort.
Yeah.
Because they do not want to go.
Right. And
I'm sure your dad did not. He had too much at that time with family and
family and career, and
very hard for him to leave.
And not to be even more depressing, but this last birthday I had, Mike, I turned 46. I'm now officially a year on this earth longer than my dad was.
Yeah. Now that's
Wow.
Kind of a pivotal, odd feeling, and a big thing for you.
Tell me about it, man.
Yeah.
I told Bridget that, she just got that look on her face. She just went like,
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably something that you have had in your mind before that birthday came.
100%
for years.
Absolutely, man.
So
it's surreal. That's absolutely
very
surreal. Some other stuff that I wrote down here, moving right along. These are more recent, and I'll move through these pretty quickly. That experience that I had where I was home here at this house. This was maybe a year or two ago. And I was by myself. The kids were gone. Bridget was gone. And I was probably playing the guitar. I was hanging out in the living room, and the dogs were out in the living room with me. And both me and the dogs reacted to someone on our deck. And I was certain that Bridget was coming home. I remember that. Put the guitar down. I think I had Little House on the Prairie on the television. And the dogs immediately ran to the door where, she used to always walk in through. They're sitting there, they're wagging their tails. They're just like, because they're expecting her to be there. I was too. Not a sign nor hair of any living human at all was on the deck. It was really weird. I don't know how else to explain it other than we all did. The dogs and myself thought someone was walking on the deck. We felt it. Maybe we heard it, and it was nothing. There's nothing there. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain that stuff. It's really interesting.
Well, what's great about it is that your dogs reacted to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't just me. It wasn't me,
Right.
flubbing up somehow. And it's similar
Gives a lot of legitimacy there.
It's similar to another experience that I had where I was standing in the kitchen this time, and we have kitchen windows over the sink. And I had the guitar around my shoulder, and I was just kind of relaxing playing the guitar. And Bridget was here. She was in the living room area, and I'm envisioning this. I'm envisioning it in my mind right now. And I saw someone walk past the window. I thought I saw someone walk past the window, which would be on the deck again. And so much so that I asked Bridget, I said, "Who's here?" I mean, and then she's like, "What?" No one was there, but I swore I saw someone walk past that damn window on the deck again.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on there.
I'm telling you, Patrick, there's a lot of history of the land your house is on. There's a lot of history there, and you're experiencing some things, some energy, some leftover energy, some residuals or whatever of the history of your land. I mean, just knowing that you knew where that outhouse was, and for the original house. I mean, that says a lot right there.
Yeah, you want to bring your metal detector here.
We definitely need a metal detector to your yard, and I want to get a better look at that other building in your yard.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That you said might be a part of that original.
I think that used to be at one point that was the residence, the main residence. That's
pretty awesome.
That's now it's been used as a garage. It's been used as we use it as a storage shed right now.
Right.
Yeah, it's get your ass over here and we can do that. That's for sure. Continuing along the same lines that I mentioned this on the podcast before, and I've told you several times that when I was sitting up in the living room and I swore to God, I stopped everything because I would be willing to bet my life savings that one of our kids was standing or someone was standing behind me. I stopped everything.
Right.
I turned around fully expecting to see someone there. No one was there, of course. That might be nothing. That could be absolutely nothing. It could be just me.
You have to have more faith in your feelings and your sensitivity that you have.
I mean, you know what I'm talking about, though. It's where you physically feel like there's someone there. So much so that I turned around, physically expecting to see someone there. Like, hello, what? But no one's there. I mean, it's just weird little experiences like that.
Well, at least you didn't see my big blobby pasty body in my underwear.
In your underwear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You could have joined the club, Mary's club of seeing the big blobby white pasty in his underwear ghost.
Okay, I'm writing this down though, and I'm not going to forget this one because that's going to be an hilarious soundbite. Is your impersonation of Mary screaming? That's going to go on the soundboard for the next episode.
Yes, I need to hear that. Yeah,
I'm writing that right down.
We could find some good spots for that.
Yeah, I'm writing it down as Mike's scream. Yeah, that'll be hilarious. That'll be funny as hell.
Very good.
Again, more stories. The marriage that I was once a part of that we shall no longer consider a part of my life. Where her kids were living here, obviously, and her young boy, 3 or 4 years old at the time, insisted that there was we thought it was imaginary friend, but insisted there was something or someone that he affectionately called C, who was hanging out with him down in the basement on a nightly basis. I just got the eerie willies when I was thinking about that because these kids are so innocent, they don't think anything of it. It's like, well, what's his name?
Yeah.
What's his name? His name's C. It's like, okay. I buy into stuff like that because kids, for the most part, they're innocent.
Mm-hmm. For the most part.
They have no reason to, of course, sometimes they could be making it up for attention, but...
Or just pure imagination that they believe is real.
That's very true.
There's that imagination in a young child can be, pretty amazing. But, I think a kid knows when they're using their imagination. It's like, this is what I'm going to make up. This is what that's.
Oh, yeah. No, I get what you're saying there.
But
Yeah.
you can tell the difference. I mean, when you're trying to ask the kid questions or anything, and they get a look on their face like, yes, don't you understand what I'm trying to say?
Well, that's what exactly. I remember his face because he just had a big grin on his face, and he was this kind, and he's like going, "It's like duh, it's him."
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like when you ask him a question like you it's not like we said, well, what does he look like? And then he like pauses and then he starts thinking because he's making things up in his mind. So, well, he had a orange neck or something, just going on, and he had spots. And no, it wasn't anything like that. It was just immediate about his name was C. So
did he come across with any explanation of what this thing looked like? Or?
No, if he did, I don't recall ever asking.
Well, and maybe he didn't have a full. Maybe he felt it more than saw it.
Hey, I mean, very, very
and
true.
to him, there was somebody there, whether he saw it or not, but he felt it so strongly in his innocence of not having, as you grow up, people telling you, "Oh, that's impossible."
Right.
He is like, was at an age where, yeah, this is possible because I don't know any better.
Yeah, his mind hasn't been shut off. It hasn't been tarnished, by
exactly
by people like me.
Yeah, like you. Yeah, you're a great one to follow in somebody's footsteps.
Hush.
Yes, I have believed and seen many spirits and experienced many paranormal events. No,
or not. Then finally, well, another thing I jotted down, those interesting, odd experiences that we all go through, those moments of synchronicity. We talked about that a couple episodes ago on on our Patreon page. Those odd experiences of memories you think about. For me, example, again, my former bandmate Damien, he still pops in my mind every now and then. He probably always will, and just when I have these strong feelings and memories of him, and then something happens that just seems too coincidental, or even vice versa. It's shit like that seems to happen quite often. I don't ignore it.
You can't ignore it. And especially if these things are happening without any forethought of him.
Yeah, it pops right in there.
Yeah, because if you're thinking, like, oh, yeah, I remember this or that, and then something pops into your mind.
Yeah, that's explainable.
That's like a memory coming to life. But, if you have no forethought, you haven't been thinking about him or whatever, and all of a sudden, bang, the thought is there, and then you hear something on the radio or whatever, and
yeah.
That's
exactly it, man. You can't ignore it, and I don't ignore it.
Yep, you can't. Definitely can't.
Then our last two that I wrote down were just our EVP/stories and Mike's missed voices, shadow person, etc. Would you like to take us down that trek, Mike? I keep on thinking that you said you saw a mist in your house, the haunted house in town in Park Rapids here. Am I wrong in the mist shape that you saw coming from the ceiling? You and the ex partner in your life?
She actually saw, like, it was the shadow that came out of the ceiling.
Okay, I keep thinking mist, but it's not a mist.
It was totally the shape of an arm with a slight bend in it, with the hand and everything.
Oh my God, that is terrifying. Now that is, but you didn't see that, right?
I didn't see it because it was straight above my head.
Oh my God.
It was like straight above my head coming down towards me, but it came out as far as like the entire arm, and then she said it went back up.
And you believe her regardless of your guys' situation and stuff, but definitely back then you believe her and you still do.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of terrifying if you think about it. I mean, what the hell is going on there?
Well, I'm sure I had told you the story about when I lived in Maine, when I first got there and lived in a very old barn that was converted into apartments. And sleeping in the room there, it was, I was asleep, but this is what I was told from my first wife. She said that she turned over towards me, and up by the ceiling against the wall, she said she saw the shape of like a very dark face, like a head.
What?
and it was looking down at me, she said, and it had red glowing eyes.
Good God Almighty! I remember. I think you have told me that before.
Yeah, and she said, but then it just backed up into the one, faded into the wall.
Mike, do you have evil attachments following you? What's going on with all that
You
stuff?
never know. But see, then when you take that, and her, she was a nutcase. It still is. There's a lot of things that make me think, yeah, that,
And trust me, Mike has every right to say that. So we'll leave it at that.
But at the same time, well, why would she come up with that to make sure she'd let me know that she had seen that? And then the fact that another time there's an arm coming out of the ceiling towards me,
What the hell is happening?
which is another shadow, black shadow, and then it goes back up into the ceiling.
I
remember
got the
telling this-
willies thinking about that, man.
Yeah, that's when I was in the Air Force, and I remember this old civilian worker that worked with us, and he was an old Mainer, and this was in northern Maine that I lived in, and he goes, "You know what that was, don't you?" And I said, "I don't know. What?" And he goes, "That was a dirty, stinking devil." So I was like, "Yeah, well, you never know."
Well, I guess I wouldn't think of the devil as having a pleasant scent to him. So
Yeah,
that's that
odd.
Drakkar smelling Satan right there in front of you. That is creepy, though, man.
yeah, but you think of that. Things have been going on with me since I was a very young child.
Yeah.
And these are two different incidences from two different people that witnessed some kind of a odd shadow thing that, the first one, she said it was looking at me,
Yeah.
down at me. And the arm was coming down right above my head from the ceiling. I mean, they kind of coincide with each other in a weird way.
You wonder if it's the same thing.
And it could be. It could be.
You wonder if there's something on the other side, Mike, that is just sickened by your positive light. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
I mean, I might sound weird and bizarre right
Yeah.
there, but they're like, we're tired of this guy spreading positivity. Maybe they're just checking in on you and hoping to, I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe.
Here's that word, taint you in several different ways. That's the last time I'm going to use that word. Because Mike, depending on moods, whatever mood Mike is in, that becomes his favorite word for podcasts. So
Yeah.
in another totally different manner. But anyways, moving on. You mentioned the shadow person that you saw behind the couch. We've talked about that several times. I mean, that's creepy as hell.
And see, what's weird about that one is I actually heard it as well.
Yeah, and that's what made you look over there, right?
Yeah, it was like something brushing against the couch where I had seen this.
So
and
it was like
behind
something.
the couch.
So it was such a strong energy. It actually had a physical impact on its environment.
It did. You could hear the brushing up against the couch and the material of the couch.
Oh, that creeps me out.
And then as soon as I looked over, it was like a good portion of the head up, and it was all black like a shadow, and it ducked down behind the couch.
Okay,
And that's when I got up and looked right away, just, and there was nothing there, of course.
I know we've talked about this before, but Mike, what is your vibe? And we're running out of time here. I know I won't keep you very long,
That's okay.
much longer. What's your vibe as to what a shadow person is, what that shadow person is? Is it a negative energy to you? Is it something from another dimension? I know there's theories out there that shadow
There's
people
so many
are,
theories about it.
there are theories out there that shadow people are related to aliens. I mean, there's just so many different stuff. What is your vibe on what was your vibe on that experience and overall when it comes to shadow people?
I have an overall thought of an alien connection because I've always wondered if, God, am I a half a product of something?
Are you a hybrid? Mike's a hybrid.
I have no idea because I have such a strong feeling about all that stuff. I mean, I know my mom is my mom and my dad is my dad. There's no doubting that. But I don't know. It's just an odd feeling. But
is it negative to you? Do you get a negative vibe?
Totally not negative. Even the thought of that face or that head with the red eyes, I have never associated that with anything demonic. And I was more likely back then to accept demons and things like that. You know, as because people know now that I really am on the
You struggle with that.
yes, I'm on the far side of the fence still for that.
Yeah.
So
No, and that's great because you and I need that balance because I
Yeah.
tend to get freaked out by it still, but
Yeah.
I blame my Catholic upbringing on that.
yeah, yeah. Well, that happens to a lot of people, Catholic or otherwise.
And I giggle a lot
Yeah.
of nervousness, by the way. So I
Yeah, I giggle out of nervousness.
I can picture me at the Sally house every now and then. I'll
God.
just be like,
Yeah, and I'm like, Patrick, stop it!
I can't help it.
I'm gonna stuff a sock in your mouth.
Hey,
I tell you, the Sally House is gonna change your way of thinking about the paranormal. I really feel that pretty strong.
well, I believe in all of it, man.
Yes, I know you do, but you still need to make that last hurdle. It's your last hurdle,
Ooh.
the very last, and it's coming.
And if it requires us to get the classic 3 fingernail scratch marks on our back
Hey,
and our
we'll
torsos,
take it.
Oh boy.
We'll take it.
We're doing this, by the way, boys and girls. We're doing this, as we talked about earlier. This is no
Yeah.
joke. It's an 8.5-hour drive from Enderlin down to Atchison, Kansas. So,
Which Atchison, I'm thinking, is part of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad.
you're thinking? Well, you might be right.
That kind of hit me the other day. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. The Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe.
That was great. Didn't you and your the ex Pam also hear voices in that very haunted house back in Camp Rapids?
Well, in that house, it was I had heard whispering, like
Whispering.
I was
Okay.
getting up in the morning and everything was so quiet. I didn't have any radio or TV on, and I could hear a female whispering close by my ear, but as many times that it happens that you can't make out what they're saying. But I was alone at that time and heard that whispering. But what her and I heard was when I lived in Maine and we got stuck on base. This is when we lived in that barn still. Got stuck on base from a very bad winter storm, like a nor'easter. What it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's like
they're nasty.
one of the worst blizzards that we get here in North Dakota and you in Minnesota and things like that. But so we were staying there overnight, and she had mentioned something about, well, don't worry if you hear voices, because she hears them often, and she kind of explained what she hears, and so we did have a forewarning of this possibility, but she said she thought it was connected to this clock. That it's a very antique clock, because she spent a lot of time in England and she brought back a lot of very old, beautiful antiques, and that probably had some attachments like this clock did, and she really felt strongly that's where it came from. But
And
I remember
just to be clear, this is not the ex Pam. I didn't mean to confuse.
This is the first.
The first ex. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, and so
Mike's
there.
impossible to live with, so there's your answer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm easy to being taken advantage of.
Or that, yes, or that.
But anyway, I digress. Anyway, so we were laying there, and I was like getting tired, and this storm going on outside, this nor'easter, and we both started hearing voices. I mean, like a voice, like somebody talking, and we both acknowledged it and both heard it, and it was kind of faint, but it was like it was there, and then we heard another voice join in, and then the two voices, you could tell that they were arguing back and forth, but you still couldn't make out any words. But there's definitely two people talking very, heated.
Aggressively towards each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, God, I wish those people outside would stop yelling at each other and arguing. That's how, how
I
much
need to
it
get
was.
some sleep, damn it.
Yeah, it's just how much it was. Well, there's definitely something going on. But then I started thinking, there is nobody standing outside during a nor'easter arguing.
No, it just doesn't
It's
happen.
not going to happen.
No, and even if they were, you wouldn't hear them. I mean, with the wind, the strength of
Absolutely.
of those
Which
buildings.
means to me that the voices were not coming from outside, no matter what.
Yeah,
They were from inside the house, but nobody was there to do it because it was just her and I, and the lady that I worked with and her kids. She was divorced. She had that one young child. So yeah.
Mike. As one final story here, refresh our memories. We talked about not that long ago. Talk to us about that latest bizarre kind of phantom phone call experience that you had at your house. Because that's really interesting. Can you talk to us about that again?
As often that I do get up in the middle of the night with my white pasty body, wearing my somewhere in between boxer shorts and tidy whities,
Perfectly clean.
briefs or whatever.
Yeah, perfectly clean. Yep. No need to go into that.
Got up in the middle of the night and I went into the kitchen. Deadly quiet, middle of the night, no sounds.
Deadly quiet.
Yeah, except a little. Maybe I had some midnight gas or something. I don't know. No, I didn't. That was just a funny I threw in.
And
anyway,
just the creaking and cracks of your bones as you're moving across the floor.
And the 140-year-old hardwood floors.
Yes, that too.
But anyway, I remember I was in the kitchen and I was leaning kind of back on the counter and eating something. I just needed a little snack in the middle of the night. So here I was eating this and very quiet, so deadly quiet, even with my bad ears that I have now, I could hear. I'm just waiting for the next ailment to hit me. But anyway.
No, don't ask for that because
I could hear a very old time ringing telephone, even older than, like the old 70s slim lines that you'd have on the wall,
Yeah.
This was more like the black telephone sitting on the desk or whatever.
Very distinct.
Or on the table.
Very distinct sound.
The black handle you pick up. I could hear that kind of a phone ring. And it kept on going and kept on going. And, it was, the windows were all closed. There wasn't somebody from outside, even though, from the neighbor next door, I would not have heard it. Would not have heard it, especially the way it sounded so faint and but yet clear and right there, like those voices and that whisper that I heard in the other house. Like the old time phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and I was like, God, that's just so weird. And I remember just standing there, and I think I even stopped eating whatever it was I was eating and listening, and still hearing the phone ring as I was, very distinctly trying to hear even more. It's like it kept on going, and then it stopped. But that's when I told you that, the only thing that I can connect that with is some kind of a residual from a lady that used to live here many, many, many years ago. She got a phone call and she was told that her son had died. Yes. And she had a heart attack right there, collapsed, and never recovered from it.
Damn. And that's like, we talked about that, pretty extensively on, not that long ago, but we both were in agreement. Well, we think it's possible that her just unbelievably strong emotional reaction there has somehow captured that audio of the phone ringing,
Just left an imprint of that residual,
man.
That
and
phone call.
You must have maybe just caught it at just the right time that phone call was made, perhaps,
Yep, just at the right time where things were quiet enough to where I could hear it. That could be happening who knows how many times during the night or day.
That's what I was just going to ask.
When I'm not out there or when we're out in the living room and watching TV.
Did you happen to catch the exact time when you were there?
Oh, shoot. No, it was after midnight. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So,
but, there are many times where I have had like an internal vision in my mind. And this goes back for, not thinking of the phone ringing because it goes back long before that. But I just so have pictured over the years in my mind after hearing that story, an older woman with dark hair, kind of disheveled, like she had just, gotten out of bed, wearing like a house coat type thing over pajamas.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
And,
yeah.
I've pictured that or her in my mind so many times over the years. And then, with this phone ringing in the kitchen, I picture those together.
Together, they kind of go hand in hand almost like
right.
And that's not something that you sit, that's an image that just quite literally pops into your mind.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's crazy. Why wouldn't it be connected and why wouldn't it have a meaning to it?
Right.
And
it's the same image that I've had for years. I mean, the pattern on her house coat and everything. And, it's just all,
oh, man.
Yeah.
I think there's something there. I love that story. We've had a couple episodes focused on phantom phone calls. I know one on Patreon for sure, one on the Ultimate Row podcast. It's an eerie yet fascinating topic.
Great stuff.
It blows me away just to think about being still, messages trying to be relayed, in the afterlife, essentially, people still trying to contact their loved ones somehow. I'm getting kind of goosebumps thinking about it.
And why would they choose to do this over the phone? It's, would the dead think of that? Oh, there's a tool to reach out. It's something that they were familiar with in life. And it's what we still in life are so familiar with that, a phone call, that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I absolutely do, man. I love that idea. I think it's utterly fascinating. It blows me away. Well, Mike, we're coming up on an hour and a half. We better wrap it up.
Yeah, we have so many stories that we could tell.
Oh, we could. I mean, I think I overuse this phrase. We barely scratched the surface, but we could literally go on and on about that.
Yeah, it's another one that was great, unplanned, really unprepared for.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Hopefully an interesting thing. But now, after the Sally House, we're going to have some other stories that we can tell.
Oh boy. Because
like I said, this to me, and I've felt this from the beginning, that this is going to be a big changing point for you and your paranormal, your mindset.
Just think about the possibilities, Mike.
Yeah.
Just think about I don't want to jinx anything at all, but the chance, this is supposedly one of America's most haunted locations.
Yes. And we are going to spend the night there.
And we're going to
still hard to believe.
It is kind of hard to believe. We have pretty darn good equipment.
Yes.
We're going to obviously
damn good equipment.
We're going to be
for amateurs. Yeah.
We're bringing it all.
Barely amateurs. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. If we captured something extraordinary, would that make us professional?
Oh, no.
I know we're always going to be amateurs. Trust me. We're always going to be amateurs.
But, it's going to be great.
I can't wait.
You're going to experience some things. Your mindset is going to be changed. And, there are times, I was reading reviews that people had written after staying at the Sally House. And there's plenty that are like, well, this was a waste of time. There's nothing happened.
Of course.
Ended up falling asleep and getting bored. Well, of course, it's not, no ghost or spirit, no matter how much you're trying sometimes with a Ouija board or whatever, is going to just on demand be there.
No, it's not a trinket. That's not a little toy to use at your demand. You're not lining up you're not lining up at an amusement park to pay for a ride.
Right. Yeah, that's been mechanically set up.
No, this is it. Definitely depends on the atmosphere, the mood. I mean, what we do.
What we put into it, the energy that we put into it, and which we've already been putting into it. That's why I get thoughts of.
I know
the house is
it's aware.
It's a little bit awake right now.
When you first texted me to that creeped me out. It did.
Yeah.
When you said the house knows we're coming, I was like, what?
and I just so had that strong feeling of on the drive that we were making there, that 8.5 hours or whatever, that house is going to be amping up during that time.
Man. I can't wait, man.
I really feel that.
Well, right now I'm feeling really positive about it. Who knows how I'll feel tomorrow? But
Yeah.
No.
No, it's all exciting. It's all fantastic. Mary
It
thinks
is.
we're totally nuts,
yeah,
but supports us 100% on it.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Bridget, she totally supports us as well. She's definitely excited, but I think she's kind of along the same viewpoint as Mary. She's like, why are you doing this again?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mary and I watched, she watched most of it, parts of it, whatever the Ghost Adventures episode of the Sally House. And it's like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, you know,
You know,
but yeah,
Mike,
no, it's going to be
and
fantastic.
I was thinking about this, and we got to wrap it up. But I was thinking about reaching out to Dustin Perry and telling
Sure.
him, because he's so good at getting back and interacting, and stuff.
He's a friend of ours.
He's a friend, and we can call him a
mean-
friend. We can call him a friend.
Yes, he's been on 4 times, and he's willing to do it again.
I've been considering messaging him in private and telling him about our plans, and first asking him his thoughts about it. It's like,
Right,
we're-
exactly.
We're amateurs. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with it. I'm sure he's familiar with it. Any
With the
word-
Sally House, definitely.
any words of advice, anything. I think that's a good idea.
He would appreciate it, and knowing us, it's not like he knows us as like, oh, there's Patrick and Mike.
No, of course not.
But he, you mentioned the show and our names. It's like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
what can I do for you?
Yep.
He's so approachable anyway. Such an awesome guy that you should do that, Patrick. That's a great idea.
He did say, and I was very appreciative of it, where he replied to a tweet that I sent out, I believe promoting his last appearance on the show, and he sent me a message in response, and he said, "I really appreciate you guys. I'm very glad to. I'm happy to have you guys like in my life. Essentially, I'm totally butchering what he
Really?
wrote, but it was very, very sweet and very nice and
Why
stuff.
don't you share these things with me? That's important to me.
Okay, I'll go find it.
So Dustin is our friend then. That's good.
I mean, that wasn't the exact wording, but it was basically
Yeah, I
along
know.
those
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
But I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
I get the warm feelies every time I'm on your show.
I get visions of Mike in his undies running around his house. And
Maybe I'll paste you in white.
well, this has been a blast. Thank you, everybody, for
absolutely.
tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of walk down our ghostly memory lane. This has been fun. If you guys want to support the podcast, we'd love to see you at the Patreon page. Follow us along for our trek to the Sally House. It's going to be fantastic. Hopefully, you won't watch us die. So that's the
Yeah.
that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Mike, until next time, what do our awesome paranormal pals need to do?
Just plain and simple. Peace out.